Do you want to play awesome bass lines like the legendary jazz pianist Oscar Peterson? Well, in today's quick tip, I'm going to show you a great technique that Oscar used called the two-feel bass line, or essentially playing two half notes per measure. In today's quick tip, I'm going to show you 3 levels of playing in a two-feel bass line: beginner, intermediate, and advanced over a major blues, so you can get that Oscar Peterson sound. You ready to learn how it's done? Then let's begin. Okay, so we're going to start with the beginner level of playing in a two-feel bass line, where we're just going to play 2 half notes per measure. Let me go ahead and play the blues with that technique all the way through one time, and then we'll break it down. Here we go. All right, let me break that down. So what I did there, I'm playing a blues in the key of C major. So our first chord is a C7. And whenever you're choosing notes of a chord to play for a two-feel bass line, you want to look ahead at the next chord. So I'm going from a C7 in measure 1 to an F7 in measure 2. So I have a couple of options. I could go root 3 and then hit the F7, or I could go root 5 and then hit the F7. Either one works. I just chose the third here. So we go root 3 to F7. Now I look ahead. Where do I have to go for after the F7? Back to C7. So I chose the third of F, which is A. And then it brings me back to the C. Now I look ahead at the next measure and I see a G minor 7. So I'm going from C down to G. Well, if I played the 5th of C, well, I'd just be doubling that G. So maybe, is there another note I could choose? How about this? Root down to the 6th of C. That's pretty cool. And then that takes me to the G minor 7 root. And then when you have 2 chords in the measure, you just play the root of the chord, which is very simple, right? So I go G minor 7 to C7. So the first 4 measures of the blues goes like this: root 3, root 3, root 6, root, root. Very beautiful, right? It's really cool how that all works together. Then we look ahead at the next 4 measures of the blues. Again, the blues is a 12-bar blues, so this is the next 4 measures. It's an F7. So I chose the F, which is the root. You always want to hit the root on the downbeat in general. The next note I chose was the 5th. Now you can either go up to the 5th or you can go down to the 5th. I just chose to go down to the 5th just to mix it up a little bit, change directions. So we go F7 down to the 5th. F sharp diminished 7 down to the 5th. Now this next one, it says C7 over G. So whenever you see a slash chord like that, the note to the right of the slash is what's called the bass note. Now that's not necessarily the root of the chord, is it? Because the C7, the root would be a C, but G is in the bass. That's called an inversion. So what you do when you see an inversion or a slash chord is you play the note to the right of the slash in the left hand, which is called the bass note. So I go, the bass note of C7 over G is G, right? And then I go down to F7, the root, E7, which is the root, and A7, which is the root. So that's pretty easy right there, because I just play the note, either the bass note, like there at the C7 over G, or I just play the root of these chords. So let's go ahead and try that in measure 5 together. Here we go. So we have F7, root, 5, root, 5, bass note, root, root, root. Awesome. Great. Then we have 4 more measures to go for the blues, and that's it. Now we go to D minor 7. So we're going to play the root of D. If we look ahead at the next measure, we have a G7. So in order to get there, I could either go root 3 and hit the note, or root 5. I chose root 5, so we're going to go root 5, go to the G7, root. Again, I have to get down to C, so I'm going to choose root 5 here. And then we hit the C7, and these are all roots. Root, 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 root. And then we're back to the top. Pretty cool, right? Now what I'm doing in my right hand, by the way, is I'm just playing the 3rd and the 7th. This is a beginner technique that you can use whenever you're playing any song, but right now I'm going like this. I'm playing the 7th and the 3rd of C like this, and then I go to the 3rd and the 7th of F7. I go back to the 7th and the 3rd of C7, 3, 7 of G minor, 7, 3 of C7, and then for the F7, I'm going 3, 7. Same with the F sharp diminished 7, that's 3, 7. 7, 3 for the C7 over G, 3, 7 for F7, 3, 7 for E7, 7, 3 for A7, and then for D minor 7, I'm playing 3, 7, G7, I'm playing 7, 3, C7, 7, 3, A7, 3, 7, D7, 7, 3, G7, 3, 7. We're not focusing a lot on the right hand, but I just want to show you the voicings that I'm using so when we play with the track, you can follow along. Then that's coming up next. All right, so let's try this now with the track. You're going to hear drums in the track, but you're going to play the left hand 2 feel. And I'm going to play the 3 and 7 in my right hand. You can do that as well, or you can just focus on the left hand since that's what the quick tip is really about anyway. We're going to play it through 2 times through. The quarter note equals 110, so it's not too fast. Let's have some fun, and here we go. Good, let's try it again. Yeah, awesome. If you're enjoying today's quick tip, please hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for more great content just like this. All right, for the intermediate level, we're going to do a half note followed by 2 quarter notes per measure. Let me go ahead and play it for you through 1 time through, and then we'll break it down. Here we go. All right, so let me break this down. Basically, now that we've added 1 more note, we have more harmonic options to deal with. So, same chord progression, we're still doing the C blues, but now we have another note to add. So, if I'm going from C7 to F7, I can go root 3, 5, and then I can hit the root of the next chord. So I'm basically spelling out a C major triad here. Then I go to F7. Now here I'm going to play the 3rd, but it makes sense now because I'm going to a C after this to play a half step below the C. That adds a little bit of tension when you play a half step below or above the targeted note. So here I'm going F7, the 3rd, a half step, that's the HS, half step, to C7, that's the root. Now I'm going down to G, that's my next note, right? So here I chose to go 7, 13, down to the G minor. So it's a nice way of walking down to the next chord tone. So we have G minor 7. Now we're going from C7 and the next chord, you don't see it yet, but it's an F7. So I'm going root 3, which is going to take me to the F. So let's go ahead and just play the first 4 measures together. So we have 2, 3, 4, root, 3, 5, root, 3, half step, root, 7, 13, root, root 3. Good. Now we go on to the next 4 measures of the blues here to our F7. So we're going root, again 3, 5, spelling out an F major triad, F sharp diminished, root, 3, 5. They actually share the same 3 and 5. We just have to move the F to an F sharp. G, again, that's the bass note because, again, it's a C7. It's not the root of C7, that would be C, but it's the bass note or an inversion, right? So it's a C7, that's the BN bass note. Now we're going to an F7, but we have one more note to get to the E, and see how close we are to this E? So here's a kind of a cool thing. We can go down to the flat 7 and then hit the E. That's also called enclosure, where we're enclosing a note. We go, this is above the note, half step above the note, half step below the note, and then we hit the note like that. And that's our E7 root. Then we go to the A7 root, and then I chose to go down to the 5 because the next chord is a D minor after that. So let's try that together here at bar 17, 2, 3, 4. So root, 3, 5, root, 3, 5, bass note, root, flat 7, root, root, 5, root, which takes us to the D minor. Great, very cool. So it adds so many more harmonic options when we have this added note to our bass line. Now we're going from D minor 7 to G. That's our next note we're going for there. So it makes sense again to go root, 3, 5 to our G7, and we're going from G to C in the next measure. So again, we can go root, 3, 5. We hit the C7. We go down to the A7, which is the root, and I chose the 5th here because we're going down to D7, and then to G7 again. There's the root, and we have the 5th. So whenever you have the two quarter notes on a chord, you can use root 3, you can use root 5, you can use root 7, you can use half steps going to the next note. So there's a lot of options. So next up, we're going to play this with the track 2 times through. All right, so we're going to try this 2-feel bass line with the track. Again, it's just going to be drums. You're playing this 2-feel bass line like this, right? And in the right hand, you can play the 3/7 if you'd like. Otherwise, just focus on your left hand. We'll play it through 2 times, and I sped up the tempo just a little bit to quarter note equals 115. So here we go. Good, again. All right, well done. If you'd like to get the downloadable sheet music from today's quick tip, please click on the link below. And finally, we have our advanced level where we're going to be adding even more rhythm to our 2-feel bass line. So in addition to our half note and our 2 quarter notes, we're going to be also adding in some 1/8 notes. And we're even going to be adding some 1/8 note triplets, which is very similar to the way that a bass player would play. So let me go ahead and play this through one time and then we'll break it down. Here we go. All right, so let's look at this. We have the first measure again, same chord changes. We're going from C7 to F7. And underneath I bracketed something that says C.A. That's chromatic approach. So that's another thing that you're going to see at this more advanced level. You have the root. We're trying to get to F. So I went up to the 5th, and then I chromatically went down to F like that. So we have root, 5, flat 5. Now here's kind of a cool thing. Again, we're adding in some more rhythm. So there are 2 1/8 notes next to each other. Da, da, and they're short because again, that's the way that a bass player might play it, ba, ba, da, da, da. And then we have these quarter notes following those 2 1/8 notes. We have root, 7, 13, flat 13, again, a chromatic approach going to C7. Now, we're shooting for G minor in the next measure, so again, we're going up to the 13th as eighth notes, flat 13, which takes us to that G minor. Again, this chromatic approach notes to our G minor 7. Then we go to our C7, and here's our first eighth note triplet, which is a lot of fun to play. So we go G minor, then we go C7 like this, root 5-3 root, da 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 da, G minor, C7, which brings us to the F7. So let's go ahead and just try those first four measures slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. That really sounds a lot like Oscar Peterson there. So then we go to the next four measures. Again, we're at an F7 here. Now here, it's the similar technique as we did in the intermediate level, where we just go root 3, 5. So half note, 2 quarter notes. Here is an F sharp diminished 7, so root 3, but then we're going eighth notes and then chromatically down to flat 3, which takes us to that C7 over G. Again, chromatic approach notes. C7 over G, F7. Now again, we have to get to this E, so I went root flat 7 to the E here, E7. Now this is a really cool thing too. The TT stands for tritone. That means it's a tritone substitution. So again, instead of just playing the root of E and staying there, we're going root, root, tritone to the A7. And again, tritone substitutions are a half step above the targeted note. So we go from the E, B flat tritone to our A7, and we're going to use this eighth note triplet again on the A7. Again, just spelling out an A chord, which then will bring us to the D minor. So let's go ahead and try that at 29. Ready? 2, 3, 4, F7, F sharp, which brings us to D minor. Good. And the last four measures of the blues here, starting on D minor 7. Again, we're going to G7 after that, so we went up to the 5th, chromatically down, flat 5 to the G, root, and played these as eighth notes, short eighth notes, and then chromatically walked up 9, sharp 9, 3 as quarter notes to the C7, down to the root of A7, tritone, again, tritone substitution, down to D7, eighth notes, tritone, root, tritone. So you're going to see a lot more tritone substitutions in this advanced level. Let's go ahead and try that at bar 33, 2, 3, 4. Pretty cool. All right, let's try this with the track next. And again, your right hand can play the 3 and 7 as you're playing the left hand 2 feel. All right, we're going to try with the track now. Again, 2 times through, I sped up the quarter note to 120, and the right hand is going to play the 3 and 7 if you're able to, while you're playing that left hand bass line. Here we go. Have fun. Yeah. Thank you so much for attending today's quick tip on how to play a 2-feel bass line like Oscar Peterson. I hope you had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed working with you, and I look forward to seeing you on the next quick tip real soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the lesson, please let me know in the comments. Also, be sure to check out pianowithjonny.com. We have over 1,000 step-by-step lessons for all playing levels where you'll learn your favorite songs, styles, and how to improvise at the piano. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.